And welcome back. The book is called Willard Garvey, An Epic Life, and it's a book about the late Wichita businessman Willard Garvey, who had quite an impact on this part of the country and all over the world, in fact. And we have a couple of guests to talk to us about the book this morning, and Maura McEnaney is the author, and Mary Theroux is one of the Garvey daughters, and welcome both of you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maura, I want to start with you. You met the Garvey family many years ago in Arizona, is that correct?
No, it was in northern Nevada.
Nevada, I'm sorry, okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was fresh out of college, and I had landed my first journalism job at a very small newspaper called the Humboldt Sun in Winnemucca, Nevada. And I got there, I knew no one, and I heard about this family, the Garvey family, that owned an awful lot of land out there. And I slowly met a woman named Julie Garvey, and she and I became fast friends, and it was a lifelong friendship, and that's how I got to know her.
You know, I think here in Wichita we kind of think of the Garveys as our own, but truly they were very active all over the world. Actually, Willard was in particular. Mary, I want to talk to you for a moment and tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the fact that here's this book about your father and some of the impact that he had on the world.
Well, we're really thrilled to have it available because Willard was amazing. He spent his whole life pursuing his dream, and many of which he did achieve. So we're grateful. Inspiration to other people, and hopefully when they read it, they will learn that they too can pursue their dreams, they too can get peace and in the broader world, and they too can have an impact with an individual, hundreds, thousands, millions of people, or just their own neighborhood.
Your dad definitely dreamed big. I don't think there's any question about that, and had quite an adventurous life. One of the things that he really believed in was housing for everyone. Why was that so important to him?
He believed that if everybody owned property, it would give them a stake in protecting property rights. And also it's just foundational that in studies since then from Harvard and others have shown that people who own their own homes, it impacts their lives across the board. Their children tend to have better education, they do better in life, they're more involved in their communities, they're more civic oriented and so on. And he had seen that at home, building homes for the returning veterans after World War II, and wanted to extend those blessings to people all over the world, including in the least advantaged countries. He built very low-cost housing for the newly emerging working classes and middle classes in places ranging from South America through Asia.
Maura, when you met the Garvey family when you were a young journalist, that must have been a fascinating time for you. And in fact, I was reading a quote from you that you at first didn't believe some of the stories that you heard.
That's true. Well, like I said, Willard, had a bit of a reputation in town before I met him, and I imagined him to be sort of this tall John Wayne type with a dark hat, that parted crowds when he came into the room, and those in Wichita know that clearly that is not what he looked like at all. But as I came to meet him, he would, he quizzed me right away and said, "Oh, you're a reporter? I used to own newspapers. I used to own TV stations. I was here. I was there." And part of me did think that, in fact, he was telling a bit of a tale. And even when I started the book, I had a lot of quotes about things that he did, and I researched, and, every single thing he told me where he was, or everything everyone else told me where he was, the speeches that I had, what he had said, it all really was true. So I worked hard to try to disprove him, but I couldn't.
Maura, why is this book important, do you think?
I think it's important because it's really an American story. Maybe people around the country might not have ever heard of Willard Garvey, but this is a man who made a lot of people did know about him, and I think this is a man who made a difference not only in his community, as you say, but in the world. It's a story about a man who came from wealth but created more wealth, and he took time to care about the community from where he lived. Today we look at a lot of big executives and they might not care that much about their tiny community or wherever they may be, and Willard he took the time, whether you agreed with him or not. He still took the time to go to meetings, to put forth an alternative plan on something. He loved Wichita so much, and I think no matter where you live in this country, you really have to look at where you're planted and how you can contribute to your community. And I really do think he believed in that.
You know, if you look at downtown Wichita, you can see Willard Garvey's impact immediately. The tallest building in town, of course, was one of his, and several other big buildings down there, and so just a visible impact there. But he also had an impact on other countries. He had an impact on other states, and was just he sounds like he was almost like the Energizer Bunny. He just kept on going.
Yes, someone did in fact call him that. It seemed like he had 1,000 ideas. You know, someone said that my job is to take the 30 ideas that come out of Willard Garvey's mouth every month and get rid of 29 of them. I mean, he always was thinking about how to improve something, how to profit off of something, how to make other people wealthy, how to make other people succeed, help other people to succeed.
Mary, I had the opportunity to meet your mom over the years and got to know her a little bit. I didn't know your father, but your mother was certainly quite the philanthropist here in Wichita, and it was very obvious when you talked to Jean for any period of time at all. She truly cared about the community. She did her best to make this a better place, and I think, you know, she and your father believed both very strongly in that, and that had to impact you kids as well. And you know, I imagine that was a wonderful way to live, first of all.
It was. Growing up, they were involved in this almost birth, and Mother was just always involved in things as well, and we were blessed to have their examples. Growing up, she'd bring children. We had a piece of property. She'd bring children from the Phyllis Wheatley Children's Home to have a day playing there. Dad was involved in building the Institute of Logopedics. We'd go out there and help. Of course, she was very involved in Salvation Army. So they modeled in everyday lives how you help others. And it was generally just part and nothing that they called attention to. And we're all trying to follow in their footsteps and follow their models, and I'm very proud of my siblings and what they're continuing to do.
Maura, I'm going to let you wrap us up. We're having kind of a difficulty with our connection with Mary, but tell us a little bit, tell us if there's anything in particular that you really took away from your time with the Garveys, in particular Willard, when you were researching the book and writing the book. What is the one thing that really stands out in your mind?
Well, I think, again, it does come back to his commitment to Wichita. I think that is again, a story that everyone can relate to. And I think, I don't think it was baloney. I really do believe that he said it over and over again. He wanted to take all the ideas that he had all over the world and make Wichita the best city possible. And that to me was the real surprise in some ways, you know?
That's great. Well, thank you very much for being on the program, both of you. Pick up a copy of the book. Willard Garvey, An Epic Life is what it's called. We appreciate that, and we appreciate you being on the show. Thank you for watching the program. If you have any questions or comments, please email me at thisweekinkansas@kake.com. Hope you have a wonderful week.